The World Cup is the largest sporting event on Earth. In 2022, FIFA reported that 5 billion people engaged with the tournament, with an audience of 1.4 billion tuning in across the globe just to watch the final match. As this map and the resulting grid show, the 2026 World Cup, hosted by the USA, Mexico, and Canada, is expanding. It will feature a record-breaking 48 competing national teams. You cannot manage a tournament of that magnitude through random chance. Taking 48 highly diverse teams and reliably finding the absolute best one requires a rigid, systemic approach to constantly narrow the field. Crowning a single champion out of dozens of nations requires a meticulously engineered multi-year system designed to test every team and eliminate the weak. That filtering process actually begins nearly 3 years before the tournament even starts, through a series of intense, localized matches within each global federation. Because the 3 host nations of the 2026 tournament receive guaranteed entry, there are exactly 45 remaining spots up for grabs. Looking at this regional map, we can see exactly how those spots are distributed across the 6 global confederations. The European Federation receives 16 spots, the African gets 9, and the Asian Federation is allocated 8. Once the bulk of the continental slots are filled, the absolute final 2 spots are settled through a high-stakes playoff tournament featuring nations from multiple different continents fighting for survival. By drawing from strict regional quotas, this first geographic filter ensures the final tournament represents a mathematically balanced cross-section of the entire globe. Once the 48 teams arrive, the tournament faces its next logistical hurdle: how to organize 48 highly unequal teams fairly so the top-ranked nations don't immediately eliminate each other on day 1. This diagram illustrates the pot system. The entire field is divided into 4 separate tiers. These pots are seeded strictly based on a nation's current FIFA World Ranking, with the highest-ranked teams placed securely in Pot 1. To build the competition brackets, one team is randomly drawn from each of the 4 pots to construct 12 distinct 4-team groups. There is also a strict regional separation rule. A group will reject any draw that places multiple teams from the exact same geographic federation together, with a specific exception made only for Europe. Through strict seeding rules and regional blocking, the draw systematically transforms a chaotic list of 48 global teams into a highly structured, scientifically balanced battlefield. Within those groups, teams play a round-robin format governed by simple math: 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 points for a loss. But if 2 teams, say Mexico and South Korea, finish the group stage tied on the exact same number of points, the tournament relies on a rigorous tiebreaker hierarchy. This flowchart tracks the initial layers of that tiebreaker system. First, officials look at the direct head-to-head match result between the 2 tight teams. If that game was a draw, they look at overall goal difference, calculated by taking the total goals a team scored and subtracting the goals they conceded across all their group matches. If the math is still perfectly level, the tiebreaker moves to total overall goals scored. If they are still tied, the formula targets their disciplinary record, essentially penalizing teams mathematically for the total number of yellow and red cards they received. If every single metric on the field is identical, the ultimate fail-safe tiebreaker triggers. The team with the higher overarching FIFA World Ranking automatically advances. Surviving the group stage filter demands near perfection. Because the margins are so tight, the brutal mathematics of the group stage will literally punish a team for a single sloppy yellow card. Advancing out of the group stage introduces a unique structural problem for the 2026 expansion. Taking the top 2 teams from 12 groups yields 24 advancing teams, a number that does not divide cleanly into a standard symmetrical elimination bracket. To fix this math problem, the tournament expanded its first knockout round to require exactly 32 teams. As this graphic illustrates, the tournament solves the 8-team deficit by offering a lifeline to the 8 best third-place teams across the entire group stage, slotting them perfectly into the open spaces of the round of 32. To determine exactly who receives those 8 lifelines, all 12 third-place teams are ranked strictly against one another using the exact same tiebreaker mathematics we just outlined, points, goal difference, goals scored, and discipline. This complicated expansion bridge is the final mathematical calculation of the tournament. Once those last 8 teams slide into place, the rules of the World Cup change entirely. The moment the 32-team bracket is locked, the group math, the cumulative points, and the tiebreakers are completely erased from existence. The tournament enters a pure, sudden-death knockout phase. From the round of 32 onwards, a match can no longer end in a draw. If 2 teams are tied after the standard 90 minutes of regulation play, the escalation protocol triggers, adding another grueling 30 minutes of extra time to force a result. If they are still tied after 120 exhausted minutes, the game is decided entirely by the sheer psychological tension of penalty kicks. From the vast continent-spanning qualifiers to the microscopic math of a yellow card tiebreaker, the entire 3-year, 48-team gauntlet exists for one singular purpose: to violently filter global chaos into one definitive, undisputed champion of the world.